Have you ever felt like success is this distant, shimmering horizon, visible but unreachable, like a mirage that shifts the moment you step closer? We chase it tirelessly, believing that the secret is hidden in some complex formula, in an advanced strategy, or in a rare opportunity that only a few possess. Yet, in the quiet corners of the world, in monasteries where the noise of ambition never reaches, a monk once whispered something so simple, so startlingly plain that it shook the very foundations of what I believed about achievement. Success, he said, is simpler than you think. Just 3 words, yet within them lies a universe of truth, a philosophy that can transform how we live, how we strive, and how we define victory. We've been trained to see success as this elaborate, almost sacred tapestry of effort, luck, and timing, but what if all we've been missing is simplicity itself? The monk's hidden advice wasn't hidden in complexity, nor was it in wealth, power, or the applause of the crowd. It was hidden in understanding the human mind, the rhythm of nature, and the flow of intention that courses through every action we take. He didn't offer steps, checklists, or formulas. Instead, he offered a perspective, a lens through which life itself becomes the path, and success is nothing more than a byproduct of alignment with that path. Imagine life as a river. Most people fight the current, believing that swimming faster, harder, with more force, will take them to the destination. But the monk taught me that the river is not the enemy. The river is the teacher. If you align your movements with its flow, you discover that the journey becomes effortless, that each stroke takes you further than brute strength ever could. Success, he revealed, is not in the struggle against the river, but in learning to move with it, to respect its natural course, and to recognize that resistance often blinds us to the opportunities flowing around us. In that moment, I realized that we often complicate our ambitions unnecessarily. We buy into the myth that only extraordinary effort leads to extraordinary results. Yet the monk's wisdom suggests otherwise. The truth is, simplicity is not laziness. Simplicity is intelligence distilled to its purest form, a laser focus on what truly matters, and an understanding of cause and effect that transcends superficial effort. He told me that most people never succeed because they chase shadows, distractions, illusions, societal definitions of enough that are never truly theirs. We measure success by benchmarks that someone else painted, goals that society imposed, and accomplishments that might not resonate with our own inner compass. But when you strip all of that away, when you are left with only yourself and your authentic intention, success is no longer complicated. It is immediate. It is accessible. It is natural. The monk's method was deceptively simple. Decide what matters, he said. Focus on it. Move with clarity. Let go of the rest. It sounds almost childlike in its simplicity, yet it carries the weight of centuries of wisdom. He compared life to tending a garden. If you try to tend every patch of soil, if you water everything indiscriminately, nothing thrives. But if you nurture the seeds that matter, if you remove the weeds that choke growth, and if you patiently observe what is alive and ready, success is inevitable. The metaphor is not just for farming. It is for our careers, our relationships, our personal growth, and our creative endeavors. Every action, every decision, every habit is a seed. Choose wisely what you water. Choose carefully where you focus your energy. The monk introduced me to the power of presence as well. Success, he said, is a consequence of full engagement in the moment, of pouring yourself completely into the task at hand without distraction or anxiety. We live in a culture of multitasking, of chasing multiple rewards at once, of splitting attention across 100 screens, conversations, and ambitions. Yet mastery and accomplishment emerge only from singular focus. When you give your entire being to a moment, that moment becomes a foundation. That foundation accumulates silently, invisibly, until one day it transforms into results that appear almost magically. The monk spoke of effort not as struggle, but as alignment. Have you ever noticed how a skilled dancer seems to glide effortlessly across the floor? Each movement appears natural, flowing, even spontaneous. Yet it is the product of countless hours of deliberate practice, repetition, and attunement to the music. Success is the same. It appears effortless, but only when your actions, intentions, and awareness are harmonized. Another lesson he shared was the importance of small, consistent actions. He would say, "The tallest tree grows from a tiny seed. The deepest river begins with a single drop." People often look for overnight transformations, monumental breakthroughs, or sudden bursts of luck. But the monk reminded me that the universe does not operate on shortcuts. True accomplishment is the accumulation of tiny, consistent steps, each one aligning you closer to your purpose. There is a rhythm to success, a cadence that must be honored. He also emphasized the power of letting go. Release the need to control everything, he said. Control is an illusion. The universe has its own intelligence. Many of us waste energy attempting to micromanage outcomes, obsessing over variables we cannot influence and resisting forces beyond our control. Yet freedom, creativity, and progress emerge only when we accept uncertainty, when we allow events to unfold while we continue to act wisely and with intention. Imagine holding a bird too tightly. In your desperation to keep it, you crush it. But when you open your hand, allowing it space to fly, it soars. Success requires the same. It thrives not in suffocating control, but in mindful action coupled with intelligent surrender. The monk would often ask questions rather than give answers, forcing reflection. "What is it that you truly value?" he would inquire. "Are you chasing the horizon or the view along the way?" Such questions are deceptively simple, yet they pierce through our habitual distractions. They challenge us to reconsider whether our definition of success belongs to us or to someone else, and whether the goals we pursue are truly aligned with our essence. "There is an elegance in simplicity," the monk insisted. "Complication breeds confusion, distraction, and burnout. Simplifying does not mean avoiding challenge. It means clarifying your purpose so that every action, every choice, every thought is in service of that purpose." He likened it to sharpening a sword. A dull blade requires excessive force and energy, yet a well-honed edge cuts effortlessly. Success, when approached with clarity and focus, cuts through obstacles the same way. One of the most profound pieces of advice he offered was to embrace failure as a teacher rather than an enemy. "Every stumble is an insight," he explained. "Every defeat carries a lesson hidden in plain sight. Society teaches us to fear failure, to avoid it at all costs, to see it as a mark of inadequacy. Yet, in reality, failure is the feedback mechanism of life, the compass that guides us toward refinement, understanding, and eventual triumph." The monk's hidden advice distilled this truth into practice. Observe, reflect, adjust, and continue. This cycle of mindful learning and persistent action is what makes success inevitable. He also spoke of gratitude as a multiplier of achievement. "Acknowledging what is already present transforms your pursuit," he said. "When we focus solely on what we lack, our vision narrows, our energy constricts, and desire becomes anxiety. But when we cultivate gratitude, we open ourselves to possibility, creativity, and flow. Gratitude shifts our perspective from scarcity to abundance, from fear to inspiration. Even the smallest acknowledgement of progress becomes a building block for greater achievements." Perhaps the most striking element of the monk's teaching was the paradox of effortlessness. He insisted that true success arises when striving is not frantic, when ambition is balanced by patience, and when action is guided by wisdom rather than obsession. In the chaos of our modern lives, we mistake busyness for progress. We glorify exhaustion as proof of commitment. Yet the monk showed me that moving with awareness, consistency, and calm determination often achieves far more than frantic labor ever could. The simplicity of his message is both comforting and challenging. It asks us to confront our assumptions, to peel away layers of noise, and to see success not as a distant, complex destination, but as a natural unfolding of aligned action. "Be present," he would say. "Be intentional. Let the rest follow." And follow it does, often in ways more extraordinary than we can imagine. Imagine walking through a forest. Each step taken with awareness reveals hidden beauty. Sunlight filtering through leaves, the sound of a bird, the texture of moss beneath your feet. If you rush through, chasing only a distant clearing, you miss the richness of the journey. Success is not only the clearing at the end. It is every mindful step, every insight, every act of alignment along the way. So how do we begin? First, we clarify what matters. What are the goals, values, and actions that resonate with your authentic self? Second, we simplify. We remove distractions, irrelevant tasks, and obligations that dilute our energy. Third, we align our actions with our awareness. Each day becomes a practice, each moment an opportunity to nurture the seeds we have chosen to water. Fourth, we embrace failure as guidance, allowing each misstep to inform our path rather than deter it. Fifth, we cultivate gratitude, recognizing the progress we've made, however small, and drawing inspiration from it to fuel the next step. The monk's advice, hidden in plain sight, is not a strategy for a select few. It is a philosophy available to anyone willing to observe, reflect, and act with clarity. It is a reminder that the complicated formulas, the endless planning, and the pursuit of shortcuts are often unnecessary. Success, when approached with understanding and intention, is a natural outcome of simplicity. I share this with you not as a distant story, but as an invitation. An invitation to pause, to reflect, to examine your own definition of success. Are you chasing shadows, or are you tending your garden? Are you swimming against the current, or are you learning to move with the river? Are your efforts fragmented, scattered, and exhausting? Or are they focused, deliberate, and aligned? The answers are within you, waiting for awareness to awaken them. Remember, success is not a puzzle to solve. It is an ants to learn, it is not a mountain to conquer. It is a path to walk. Each step, each decision, each moment of mindful presence brings you closer not just to accomplishment, but to fulfillment. The monk's hidden advice is simple yet profound. Focus, align, act, let go, and be grateful. Do this consistently, and success will find you, quietly, naturally, and inevitably. The beauty of this wisdom lies in its accessibility. You do not need permission, approval, or extraordinary resources. You need clarity, consistency, and courage. The courage to simplify, the courage to reflect, and the courage to act authentically. Let today be the day you take the first conscious step. Begin by asking yourself the questions the monk asked: what matters most? Am I acting with intention? Am I aligned with my true purpose? Let your answers guide your actions. Let your actions accumulate silently, persistently, until the results, the success you seek, become inevitable. And remember, the journey itself is rich with insight, beauty, and meaning. Success is not just the outcome. It is the wisdom, growth, and presence cultivated along the way. It is not in chasing mirages, but in walking deliberately, with awareness through your own life. If this message resonates, if it sparks reflection or inspiration, I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments below. Reflect, discuss, and engage. Let's build a community that values clarity, presence, and intentional action. And if you found this perspective meaningful, consider liking this video and subscribing to Echoes of Greatness so that together we can explore more insights, philosophies, and motivational truths that illuminate the path to a life of fulfillment and achievement. Your journey toward understanding, simplicity, and authentic success starts here. Now, with awareness, focus, and courage. Take the first step today, and let the river carry you toward a life that is not only successful, but deeply meaningful.